Donald Trump's approach to the Middle East has always been bold, complex, and at times divisive. With his return, the region faces the prospect of renewed alliances, economic sanctions, and a focus on containing regional powers like Iran. Trump's belief in peace through strength shapes his vision, aiming to secure American interests while reducing the need for direct military intervention. His approach typically involves building strong alliances, applying targeted economic pressure, and emphasizing diplomacy backed by military strength when necessary. One key element of Trump's Middle East policy is his stance on Iran. In his first term, Trump withdrew the United States from the Iran nuclear deal, viewing it as insufficient in preventing Iran from gaining nuclear capabilities. Instead, he imposed a series of stringent sanctions, aiming to cripple Iran's economy and limit its influence across the region. Trump's return would likely mean an immediate reapplication or intensification of these sanctions, with the goal of bringing Iran back to the negotiation table on terms more favorable to the United States and its allies. He views a strong U.S. stance on Iran as central to deterring its support of proxy forces in Syria, Yemen, and Lebanon, where Iran's influence often complicates efforts toward regional stability. Trump's relationship with Israel is another pivotal component. During his first term, he brokered the Abraham Accords, fostering unprecedented normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab nations, including the UAE and Bahrain. These agreements marked a historic shift in Middle Eastern diplomacy, and Trump's administration considered them a significant foreign policy success. His return could bring efforts to expand these accords, encouraging more nations to join this coalition, which he believes would serve as a powerful counterbalance to Iran. Trump's support for Israel remains steadfast, including his backing for its security measures and territorial claims. This unwavering support reassures allies in the region, signaling that the United States stands firmly with its longtime partner. Beyond Iran and Israel, Trump's strategy would likely include a reassessment of U.S. military presence in places like Syria and Iraq. While he has often advocated for reducing endless wars, Trump still sees the value of maintaining a selective presence to ensure stability. His administration could shift towards a model where local forces and allies receive military support, training, and intelligence without a large-scale U.S. troop commitment. This allows the U.S. to maintain its influence in these nations while minimizing the risks and costs associated with prolonged military involvement. Airstrikes and targeted operations against terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda could increase, as Trump's approach favors decisive action with limited on-ground engagement. In Afghanistan, Trump initially led the U.S. towards a phased withdrawal, which was later completed by his successor. However, with rising instability and concerns over terrorism resurging under Taliban control, Trump may adopt a more cautious approach, monitoring Afghanistan as a potential hotbed for extremist activities. While direct re-entry appears unlikely, Trump could prioritize intelligence and counterterrorism operations to prevent spillover effects that might destabilize neighboring regions or threaten U.S. security. Trump's Middle East policy would also affect America's relationships with other global players like Russia and China, who maintain their own interests in the region. Trump has previously encouraged a strong, independent U.S. stance, often viewing foreign involvement through a competitive lens. With Russia's active presence in Syria and China's growing economic investments, Trump would likely focus on curbing their influence through alliances, diplomacy, and strategic partnerships in the region. His administration might increase economic and political pressures, aiming to limit foreign powers from gaining a stronghold over critical areas within the Middle East. Another issue that Trump might prioritize is the global energy market. The Middle East remains a critical supplier of oil, and Trump's energy policies align with maintaining America's energy independence while also securing stable supply chains. Trump has historically aimed to keep oil prices low by ensuring a steady supply, reducing America's reliance on foreign oil sources. As a result, his administration could work with Gulf states like Saudi Arabia to stabilize oil markets, reinforcing these partnerships as a hedge against energy crises. Finally, Trump's approach to Middle Eastern diplomacy might see a shift towards what he describes as deal-making, where he favors bilateral agreements over extensive international cooperation. This means his administration would likely prioritize specific agreements that directly benefit U.S. interests rather than broad, multilateral engagements. Trump's foreign policy emphasizes practicality over idealism, pushing for agreements that have clear benefits for the U.S. and its allies. This strategy, while controversial to some, appeals to those who believe that direct negotiations yield more immediate and measurable results. Overall, Trump's return signals a reassertion of American interests in the Middle East, guided by a balance of diplomacy, economic pressure, and strategic military engagement. His approach aims to avoid deep military entanglements while maintaining influence through strong alliances and decisive actions against perceived threats like Iran. As the region braces for his potential strategies, the world watches to see how Trump's policies could reshape the Middle East and affect global stability. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button to stay updated on the latest developments.